So one of the worst thing of boundary would be a gearbox where you start and stop the gearbox, and also you have in between the teeth, you have a lot of very, very high pressure and therefore very, very thin oil films. And you both have like a rolling contact, but you also have sliding contact. And especially if you start to, make the gears like that, so a bevel drive or even worse, a worm gear, you have a lot of sliding and therefore you need additives. Otherwise, you're going to break down the gearbox. Yeah, so one of the primary things for an oil, yeah. It goes through all three of them. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. You could actually work, say, like, let's say, like you say, 320, the oil is 320 normally designed for this gearbox, but to help me out, maybe because it's running very hot, I go to a 460 oil, and then I have less boundary lubrication because then I can carry more load because the oil is thicker. But then, of course, I'll also create a little more, friction in the pump, and I'll also create maybe starvation in the pump if I can't suck in the oil. I mean, if it's too cold. So there are also drawbacks. So sometimes additives actually the best solution. Yeah, but good question. Thank you. Yeah, so the role of viscosity would be one of the most important thing in oil systems, is that if you cannot have this thick fluid film or this carrying capacity of the oil, then you'll have a lot of friction and a lot of wear. So if we look at the highest load and very, very little rotational speed, that would be, for example, on a truck or a lorry, you have the kingpin, I think it's called, where you connecting the trailer. There's very little rotation only when you turn, but a lot of pressure. So there you're actually very often using a very high viscosity oil with some solid additives in. So graphite, molybdenum disulfide, Teflon, and so on. But it's easier to keep it there if you have grease instead. Because grease is having the third thing, the thickener, which is like a metal soap. So the solid additives stay in the sponge, you could say, and therefore keep it in place. It's very difficult to have graphite and Teflon and so on in fully suspension in an oil. If you send it around, it will most likely fall out. But in grease, it will stay there. If you have a little less load, but still high load and more rotational speed, maybe you need a quite viscous oil, so a 460 or 680 or something.